richly deserves a chance to go forward with his now blossoming second career. All right, Gil, let's get ready for the main event, and let's talk for a moment about the guy who's posed as the challenger here as he comes in against the great Roy Jones Jr., Merqui Sosa. He's coming off of two absolute wars with Prince Charles Williams in the light heavyweight division in the course of the past year. Two unbelievably vicious fights. Could they affect Merqui as he goes into the ring tonight?
Well, I've been in boxing a long time, Jim, and I've never seen a fight where the doctor had to stop the fight because neither guy could continue. And it was called a technical draw. Then they fought again, and Sosa, again in a tough fight, knocked him out in the latter round. And I think it could take a lot out of Merqui Sosa.
All right. Well, we'll see how Sosa shows up tonight as he comes into the ring against Jones in what is Sosa's biggest and best chance ever, Larry, for real prominence. I posed the question that you've often answered for me in the past, in other circumstances. Who is Merqui Sosa, and what chance does he have to pose a legitimate, serious threat to Roy Jones?
Well, as Muhammad Ali once said about an opponent, he's one of those fighters who gets mad if you miss him. But when you hit him, his instinct is to hit you right back. And if you hit him 2 or 3 or 4 times, his instinct is to think he's getting tired. Now I've got him where I want him. There's a story behind this. When he was 8 years old, he used to get marbles from kids by allowing them to hit him on the head. Tough guy. And over 200 exhibition or amateur fights later and 32 professional fights, nobody has put a dent in him yet. And I suppose it's obligatory for me to say he still has all of his marvels. But the reality is that a great young champion like Roy Jones can only lose to himself if he gets distracted, overconfident, or even bored, which he has been talking a lot about lately. And that's why we've been talking so much about Roy's Jones about basketball.
Yeah, indeed. If Sosa needed any motivation, he can draw it from the fact that within the past month, Roy Jones has been spending a great deal more time talking about his prospective basketball career than about boxing. What's going on here? Let's take a look.
Boxing is not a challenge for me anymore. If I can play pro basketball, I'll retire from boxing. I want to be the first boxer to play in the NBA. IBF super middleweight champion Roy Jones, who's 5'11", after accepting an invitation to try out with the London Towers of the Basketball League of England.
Right after the fight, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. I'm not playing. It's not a joking matter to me. I'm not afraid to fail. I think nothing beats a failure but a try. I know people say, oh, he's crazy, oh, he can't do this, he can't do that. They say what they want to say. Nobody can stop me or change my mind. I would turn down anything I got to do for a basketball game.
It's a statement that poses a startling question. Why is arguably boxing's best pound-for-pound fighter more interested in basketball than in boxing?
I think he's just looking for something different to do, to occupy his time so he can have a peace of mind. That's all it is.
Frustrated with fights against overmatched opponents who need him to provide their big paydays, Jones is rethinking his chosen profession, especially after having witnessed Jimmy Garcia's ring death and after the permanent damage done to his friend and former rival, Gerald McClellan.
After the fight now, he's never the same, you know? Never will be the same. I can't even go see him because I know that'll kill my spirit to fight.
He's tired, and he is slide also.
Jay Corey doesn't know basically nothing about himself right now, and that's miserable, and I don't want to be that way. And that's why I'm so anxious to go ahead and try another sport so that once I feel my end coming, I can go ahead and get out and do something else that I like doing. And it's nothing that I like more than basketball, but I mean, I don't even like boxing more than I like basketball.
Having played basketball all his life, Jones wants to know if his dominance of rec leagues in Pensacola will translate to instant hoop stardom in London.
The reason I was going to try London was because I heard that London was maybe one of the weaker leagues, And I just want to go somewhere to where it's room where I don't cause anybody a problem and see how good I am. If I am good enough, then I want to get better. So I immediately start trying to get better.
No one who has seen him in the ring can doubt Roy Jones's athletic talent or his conditioning, but he isn't like two sports stars Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders, both of them already proficient in their second sport. The parallel here is to Michael Jordan's abortive attempt at playing baseball.
I don't think he was really playing baseball quite as often as I was playing basketball, so I guess that's where I think the difference would be. But who knows, I may not be as good a basketball player as I think, or I may not be as good a basketball player as he was a baseball player. But to go do something different to where you can kind of not have so many expectations right on your back gives you a little bit of a break, and I think sometimes an athlete needs that.
Roy's not going to leave boxing. He wants to pursue something else in life and see exactly where he stands. You know, you have to do a self-evaluation, and Roy wants to do a self-evaluation of himself to see exactly where he is in basketball. But boxing is a part of him, it's been a part of him all his life, and he's going to continue to box till him and I decide that it's time for him to stop.
If I do well, fine. If I don't, like I said, I always got these hands.
Sometime the last week of this month, Roy Jones swears he's taken those hands to London to try out for the Towers. Meanwhile, in an era in which most state commissions mandate weigh-ins more than 24 hours before the fight for safety reasons, this weigh-in took place today. And Roy Jones, who told us yesterday that he needed motivation, needed a way to get fired up for this fight, engaged in a stare-off with Merqui Sosa that observers clocked at about 6 minutes. Now imagine the two in this pose for 6 solid minutes. It ended in anger on both sides, and maybe, Larry, that will give Jones the motivation he thought he needs.
Enough for me to want to look at him for 6 solid minutes without blinking.
Here's the tail of the tape. We mentioned Jones fighting over the weight limit tonight. His title is at 168 pounds. They agreed to 171, give or take a pound, as Jones gets his feet wet in the light heavyweight division. They both weighed in at 171. You can see that Sosa has a 2-inch height advantage, and he's taken a lot more punishment in the ring to this point in his career than Roy Jones has, by a wide margin.
Now here you're seeing the number of punches per round in general, and you can see that Sosa is a very, very busy fight against the opponents he has fought, Jones landing a higher percentage. But now what you're looking at is the percentage of punches that each fighter takes. And Jones takes very few punches. His opponents who throw a lot of punches throw few against him because he's a fighter who punches hard and is hard to, who is a hard puncher and is hard to hit. And that changes all the equation of this boxing, while Sosa gets hit by almost half the punches that ordinary fighters throw at him.
Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Merqui Sosa Roy Jones non-title fight is scheduled for 12 rounds. The standing 8 count is in effect. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. The doctor or the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the last round. Jim.
Harold, we've just been told that there may be a delay in the fighters' entries into the ring because members of Roy Jones' camp, occupied elsewhere, were not in Merqui Sosa's dressing room to watch his hands being wrapped. And with an eye toward that, Jones's people have apparently decided to hold up their entry into the ring. They want to know whether Sosa's hands were legally wrapped. We're going to get an update on that from a man named Patsy Giordinelli, who's the Deputy Commissioner of the New York State Boxing Commission, standing by to tell us what's going on. Mr. Giordinelli, I understand that you are in Roy Jones's dressing room. Is that correct?
No, I'm in Sosa's room.
Okay, so what's going on there in Merqui Sosa's dressing room, Mr. Giordinelli?
Well, there was a little discrepancy about this. They bandaged Sosa, and there was no one from the other camp to watch. Well, we did have an inspector watching at all times.
Yeah, but is Sosa now going to have to take off the gloves and rewrap while Jones's people are watching?
No, I don't think so.
You know, I think the commission ought to tell Jones and his people to go throw some snow in their hats. If they weren't there, it's their problem, and they had official inspectors there, and that should still all objections.
Harold Letterman, is there a rule on this?
No, absolutely not, Jim. Listen, let me tell you something. Alton Merkerson worked 3 fights tonight. He worked Derek Gainer, went 10 rounds, went almost 10 rounds. He worked the Al Cole corner, and in the 10th round, he finally left the corner and went back to wrap Roy Jones. So if he was out working with Al Cole, he certainly wasn't watching Merqui Sosa. I mean, if he didn't know that they were working wrapping Merqui Sosa, it was definitely Alton Merkerson's fault. I mean, it's his responsibility to know what's going on back there. If he wanted to watch them wrap Sosa, he should have been back there.
Gil Clancy, some of our viewers may be wondering what is so significant about wrapping hands.
Well, what happens, they do have an inspector from the commission watching a guy wrap hands, but it is a courtesy to have somebody from the other camp watch as well. But in the case when Merkerson was working the corner, he could have appointed any one of their team to be in that dressing room to watch Sosa bandage. And after they're finished bandaging, what you usually do is you usually put your own mark on the bandages and initial it so that nothing can be done to alter the bandage. What they're saying is that they don't trust the inspector that watched the bandaging.
Well, this is likely to make Jones even more unpopular in New York, where he has already earned some disdain and enmity from local media and from Madison Square Garden officials who were upset, Larry, that he wouldn't come to town well in advance of the fight to help promote and sell tickets. He says he just didn't want to be here in the cold weather.
Well, in answer to the question, if he's so perfect, what's wrong with him? One of the answers is he doesn't like cold weather. He doesn't have, at least in this case, a real professional attitude about helping out the promoters and everybody associated with the fight. And also now we find that he is overly suspicious of what somebody might put in their gloves when it was his responsibility, since he claims that he runs his own show, to get the deal done. This is something that the fans here should not have to experience, stand around, wonder what's going on, have no idea why the fight is being delayed.
The only fly in the ointment could be, Larry, when Sosa got ready to wrap, he should have sent one of his people to Jones' dressing room and said, we're going to wrap now. Who is going to come in and watch the bandaging? If they did do that, then it's all Jones.
Is that their obligation?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, there's Alton Merkerson, and you see him putting the gloves on Jones, and we were told that Merkerson, incidentally, was going to go to the dressing room, examine Merqui Sosa's hands, and watch them begin putting the gloves on Sosa to be secure in his belief that no hanky-panky had gone on.
You know, this is getting to be more about gloves than I wanted, putting on gloves than I want to know. I mean, we've got cold weather out here. We've got icy stuff going on. Everybody should know how to put on gloves. This is just a pain in the neck, and it's amateur night.
Well, we did have that one bad incident in New York when Panama Lewis was accused of taking the stuffing out of the gloves.
You're right.
And the opponent, Collins, got seriously hurt in the fight. And he was suspended, and he's still suspended in New York State.
And if this has become a war of wills between the two dressing rooms, as would seem entirely likely in these circumstances, then maybe the next step in the battle is the fact that Sosa doesn't have his gloves on yet.
All right, but you can also see the marking on the bandage. Somebody put that marking on there, whether it was the inspector or somebody from Jones' corner. But whoever watched the bandaging did sign it to make sure that no other bandage could be put over it or it could be changed in any way.
So the bandages are now an original signed limited edition.
That's about it.
Casa de Sosa! Casa de Sosa! Sosa, baby! Yeah! What time is it? What time is it? Sosa! It's your house, Sosa.
So the crowd in Madison Square Garden, unaware of all of these shenanigans, waits anxiously expectant for the two fighters, Roy Jones Jr. and Merqui Sosa, to make it into the ring. Now, we've seen Jones go through things that you would think would disturb the concentration of virtually any fighter and emerge unscathed and come into the ring and smoke people in the first round. Will this be the kind of distraction that could throw him off his game, Gil?
I don't think so. He's one of those high-energy guys. He has so much confidence in himself that I just think that this won't bother him at all. It might bother Sosa.
I think that the first time they hit each other, this will be forgotten as it should be, and as I wish we could.
Jones now with gloves on. No more chance to practice his jump shots. It'll be interesting to see when he goes to the London Towers if he's going to keep shooting it from over here to the right side of his head instead of bringing it up here. What do you think, Gil, about his chances of making it in pro basketball?
Well, I think he's a heck of a fighter.
Okay, now we have a chance to throw a few blasts at the New York Boxing Commission, because we now hear reports that there are no boxing gloves in Merqui Sosa's dressing room. I mean, we're not talking about rocket science here. These guys are prize fighters, and how could they not have gloves in the dressing room? I mean, what's going on here?
Roy Jones gloved and ready to go, trying to maintain his energy level with the excitement of celebration among his group. There's Derek Smoke Gaynor, who scored a victory on the undercard tonight, and various others who've made the trip from Pensacola up here to New York. Ironically, a lot of these people preceded Roy by several days in coming to New York. He wanted them to come and sort of do a taste test on the city and a weather test to tell them whether 28-degree temperatures were indeed survivable.
Well, you know, he's been through 2 hurricanes down in Pensacola in the last 6 months. Now he's come up here in the aftermath of a blizzard, and he says he feels like a storm. Of course, when we see him in the ring, we think he creates a storm. But right now, the storm is being created in Sosa's locker room, where they can't find him.
They just found him. I've just been told that they found a pair of boxing gloves in Merqui Sosa's dressing room. Lo and behold, boxing gloves. What shall we do with these? And they've elected to put them on Merqui so they can come into the ring.
And you know, the worst part about it is there's supposed to be 2 sets of boxing gloves available. They couldn't find any. There's supposed to be one in case a glove splits or anything in the corner. You can quickly change the glove. I don't know what's going to happen if this is the only set.
I've heard of upsmanship. This smacks of glovesmanship.
Remember when Thurman Thomas couldn't find his helmet at the start of the Super Bowl a few years back? And maybe these are the Thurman Thomas autograph gloves that Merqui is putting on right now. Ramon Paula is the man wearing the black Team Sosa hat there. He began training Merqui as an amateur when Merqui was 11, count 'em, 11 years old, back in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. Merqui's had a wide variety of trainers since that time and has gone back to Paula as the one he believes who knows him best.
And you see what the trainer is trying to do there. He's trying to, what we call, pull the gloves. He's trying to get all of the padding up into the wrist area, so there's a little less padding in the punching area.
But everybody does that.
But again, there should be somebody from Jones's corner, even just to annoy them. Say, hey, you're not allowed to do that.
Ted Mack Amateur Hour. Hey, Harold, is there a rule about any of this?
Not really, Jim. I think it's more tradition than rules. But I got to tell you a quick hand wrap story. You know, as a boxing judge, I once had the hand wraps used as a weapon against me. I'll never forget, one night I judged a fight, and Lou Duver absolutely lost his cool when I voted against this fighter, James Hard Rock Green. He cut the hand wraps off the fighter and heaved them at me. And I got to tell you, hand wraps don't hurt.
And I want to tell you, Larry, it's very unbelievable that Lou Duver would lose his cool.
Oh, no. The man never loses his cool.
Have we determined whether the rumor that swept the arena earlier today is true? Did Lou Duver actually slip and fall outside on the street somewhere today and sustain? And he wrenched his knee. Okay, I'm told that it was not a broken leg, as we had been told earlier, but Lou Duver wrenched his knee at home and didn't make it for the radio call tonight. So if you're watching, Lou, our condolences, and I hope that wrenched knee gets better fast.
Watching him tape his hands and knowing the type of fighter he is, and as long as we've been using metaphors of other sports, I'm reminded that there's a saying in baseball that the Caribbean islanders won't take a base on balls because you can't walk off those islands. You got to hit your way off the islands. And in boxing, you can't box your way off those islands. You got to punch your way off those islands. And that's what all of this stuff has been about right here.
Sosa was born in the little town of San Pedro de Macorís, which is the town now legendary in Major League Baseball for having produced such players as George Bell and Rafael Ramirez and Rafael Santana and Alfredo Griffin and a host of others who've gone on to Major League prominence.
Were there any catches in that group?
Just Sosa.
Oh, okay. But he is a tough catcher because when he catches, he pitches.
Well, here in the arena, you know, it's, to use another tired metaphor, it's as though you've let all of the air out of a big balloon. The excitement that followed the Witherspoon performance against Al Cole now thoroughly dissipated as this crowd of about 10,000 plus, the arena about half full, not a bad turnout, as Larry points out, on a night like this, waits with increasing quiet for the main event to begin.
Well, I still think Tim Witherspoon notwithstanding, the fight fans here are the heroes tonight. Interesting crowd you get in New York as compared to other places. The fight fans, the fight arena is a meeting of Wall Street and Madison Avenue and the creative world, the writers, the actors, the directors, people from the world of the stage. It's very exciting and different kind of crowd here than any place else I've ever been to.
Plus the ethnic groups, Larry. If you have a Dominican, you're going to get a lot of Dominican fans.
Yep.
Sosa acknowledges that most of his fans here tonight will come from Washington Heights, which is the predominantly Dominican section of the city, but he doesn't live there. He lives in Brooklyn, and to the delight of New Yorkers everywhere, Sosa says, when you're in Brooklyn, you're in heaven. You must love that quote, Larry, as an old Brooklyn football star.
I used to live in that heaven.
Merqui Sosa. Merqui is a given name, not a nickname. There's the record: 26 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws, 22 KOs. James Toney called him the hardest fighter I ever fought prior to his loss to Roy Jones. Ray Leonard called him the toughest sparring partner I ever had. And here comes a man who has worn out a bunch of sparring partners over the course of his pro career, Roy Jones Jr.
This is like an artist coming to New York for his first one-man show. The boxing aficionados here, up, standing, cheering. This isn't a hometown, but it is almost like a conquering hero coming to Mecca.
Walking right past Connie Chung and Maury Povich and stepping into the ring. And the song you're listening to here, if you're listening, is a Roy Jones composition called Box to This, done in cooperation with a hip-hop group. And there's the record for Jones: 30 wins, no losses, no draws, 26 KOs. When Larry Merchant took you through the punch stat numbers, he showed you how fighters who have been busy against other opponents see their punch outputs drop precipitously when they go into the ring against Roy Jones. Now, here's the graphic example of what has happened to a series of fighters, what they did before they fought Jones, throwing 65, 58, 64 punches per round, and then what they were able to do against Jones. Why, Larry?
Well, once again, it's because he hits hard and he's hard to hit. And that's what makes him special.
Right now, let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the all too long delayed pre-fight introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, Madison Square Garden and Square Ring Incorporated, along with Cedric Kushner Productions, in association with your undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser. This Bud's for you, present the featured bout of the evening, 12 rounds of boxing in the light heavyweight division. This bout is sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission, Chairman, former two-time heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson. All your officials at ringside shall remain the same, including the 3 judges who will score the bout on a 10-point must system. Once again, they are Nick Cimino, Luis Rivera, and Eva Shane. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, referee Ken Zimmer. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Mecca of boxing, Madison Square Garden here in New York City, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the white and weighing in at 171 pounds. Originally from the Dominican Republic, but now fighting out of Brooklyn, New York. He brings an excellent record of 26 victories, 22 by KO, against 4 defeats with 2 draws, and he currently holds the NABF light heavyweight title not on the line tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing El Carombo Merqui Sosa. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black and blue and weighing in at 171 pounds also. He comes to us from Pensacola, Florida. In 1988, he won an Olympic silver medal, but he should have won gold because he was voted the most outstanding fighter of the '88 Olympiad by his fellow fighters. His professional record, 30 victories without a loss, 26 by KO, and considered by many to be, pound for pound, the best fighter in the world today. A 2-time world champion, ladies and gentlemen, the reigning super middleweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Go, boxers. We're giving you instructions in the dressing room. I expect a nice, clean fight. I want you to protect yourself at all times. Listen to my commands at all times. Touch gloves, let's do it.
Jungle time!
I'm not sure what Sosa yelled as they broke from the middle of the ring, but I know it has something to do about going to war.
Crowd came back to life. Atmosphere crackles in the garden again. The man regarded by many experts as the best fighter in the world gets ready to go to work. Roy Jones telling us yesterday, Sosa will be the hardest opponent of my career. And Sosa starts out as the aggressor, but Jones counters with a left hand and gets off the ropes.
And you can see Merqui Sosa, he has that Caramba nickname. He's knock-knee, which takes a lot away from his footwork, and we figure that Jones' speed is going to bother him a lot in this fight.
Sosa with a hard right hand to the body, tries to bring the left hook up top. Jones starts to land, and now Sosa stops throwing. Roy Jones going to the body as he works Sosa against the ropes. Jones, willing to take some chances early, said he would stay closer to Sosa than he has to other opponents if it didn't hurt too much.
Right now, he doesn't have much of a choice because Sosa is just smothering him.
Watch your heads.
Jones digging the left hand to the body. Sosa leaning in and looking for opportunities to fire shots in close.
Talk about a guy being fired up. Sosa is really fired up.
He's got a tremendous opportunity to emerge from obscurity, and he has confidence that he can do it. But Jones is starting to show that incomparable hand speed as he beats a tattoo against Merqui Sosa's head with the left hook.
All right, break, step back.
that actually put Sosa in trouble.
Right hand over the top, partially blocked. Jones wanted to finish it all with that one right hand shot. Now Sosa's head begins to clear a little bit as he pulls Jones in toward it. Well, Gil, we've talked about the look that fighters get on their face when they taste that first Roy Jones left hook barrage in round one, and certainly Sosa appeared to be feeling something he hadn't felt before.
They seem to say, wow, what is it? What happened to me?
Left hook over the top by Jones. Combination inside. Referee Ken Zimmer pulls them apart. And as we go to Merqui Sosa's corner, where the predominant language is Spanish, our interpreter is Hector Garcia.
Sosa,
listen to me. You're going in forward. Move side to side. Your hands are reaching, but you have to bend. You're reaching it. Your hands are reaching the target. Try not to hold his arms. We practiced that. Don't forget. Don't forget.
Sosa said he doesn't know he's in a fight until he gets hit. He knows he's in a fight now. That was early in the round.
Seconds out. Let's go. Round two.
A power punch display on both sides. Between them, the two fighters threw only 5 jabs in the first round. Jones landed 34 of 66 punches. 65 of them were power shots. Hard left hook to the body by Sosa.
Well, Jones had mentioned that he wanted to fight Sosa on the inside, and that's what he's doing.
Hard right uppercut inside by Jones. Set up the flurry of left hooks. Sosa leaning against him, but Jones is doing damage here. Now Sosa begins to score with his own left hook. Jones using his withering hand speed to stun Merqui Sosa again. Sosa so far able to handle Jones's power, but when Jones gets started throwing multiple punches in combination, Sosa takes them all.
But can anybody keep up the pace that these two guys are fighting, especially Jones, when he lets those flurries go?
And Sosa momentarily stunned Jones there with right hand lead, left hook behind it. So his power punch combinations are working from time to time too.
And now Sosa is starting to swell under the left eye.
But you know something, Gil? Jones has never been in a long, tough fight like this.
Again, Larry,
only in round 2.
That's what we have mentioned. This is some pace.
Right. If this went on 7 or 8 rounds, I'd be curious to see how Jones responded. In fact, we've all wanted to see how Jones responded.
Getting hurt
It
now.
won't go 7 or 8 rounds if Roy keeps landing like that. A sensational barrage of left hooks, and Sosa is stunned again.
Sosa is called the head of stone, and now you know why.
Watch your head.
And Sosa trained for this fight by fighting Prince Charles Williams. Same kind of a fight.
Right hand slash, and down goes Sosa. That's the first time in his career that he's been knocked down by a hard punch like that.
All right?
And Sosa wobbling a bit on those knocked knees as Roy Jones steps back in.
Had to be a strange feeling for Sosa. But again, Jones just outmaneuvers him.
Sosa not throwing back. Not throwing back. In trouble as Ken Zimmer stops the fight. And now Merqui goes after the referee.
The fuck are you stopping the fucking fight for? The fuck are you crazy?
Fight's over.
I agree with the Sosa people. That fight should not have been stopped. He had taken hard punches. He was covering up, perhaps waiting for Roy Jones to burn himself up a little bit. I didn't think he was any more hurt at that moment than he had been a half a minute or a minute before. I thought it was a too quick stoppage.
And maybe referee Ken Zimmer wasn't familiar enough with Sosa's style of fighting to know that it was nothing unusual for Merqui to stand and take punches like that. Harold Letterman, what do you think?
Jim, he should have called a standing 8 count. They have a standing 8 count in New York. If he would have given Sosa a standing 8 count, he could have observed what kind of condition Merqui was in. At the end of the standing 8 count, he should have said to Merqui, take a step toward me, and if Merqui didn't wobble, you let the fight go. He should have never stopped it. That's the opportunity for the standing 8 count. He should have definitely called the standing 8 count at that point.
Great
no
point.
Question.
Yeah, you agree, Gil
I
Clancy?
agree. Not only I agree, but everybody in the audience agrees as well. You can hear the boos from the fighting fans.
Except, of course, for the most ardent Roy Jones fans who are simply celebrating. But indeed, this will be seen, I think, as a questionable stoppage, and we'll take another look at what happened, starting before the knockdown. Now, from this point forward, Zimmer's decision was that Merqui just didn't do enough in return. I don't know. I'm not so sure, guys. That's a lot of punishment when you're not throwing back. I agree with you about the standing 8 count, Harold.
Okay.
But I've seen stoppages of fights like that before, and so have you, Gil.
Yeah, but Harold was 100% right. That's why they have the standing 8 count in New York State. The referee definitely should have given him a standing 8 count, and you have a chance to take a look at the fighter and ask him to take that one step forward. Sosa did get hit with a lot of clean punches, but he also blocked a lot of those punches, and you can see the way he attacked the referee when he stopped the fight. He certainly had his senses.
Right now, let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official particulars on this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Ken Zimmer calls a halt to the bout. The official time, 2 minutes, 36 seconds of round number 2. The winner by TKO. He is still the undefeated 2-time world champion, Roy Jones Jr.
And a mixed response in the crowd as they listen to the particulars from Buffer. Warm benediction at the center of the ring for Jones and Merqui Sosa, and a disappointed Sosa has to take his medicine after referee Ken Zimmer elects to stop it in the second round. Again, New York State allows for a standing 8 count, and our opinion as a group here at ringside is that that might have been an ideal moment for exactly that. Larry Merchant is with referee Ken Zimmer right now, so let's hear what the ref has to say.
All right, Ken, tell us what you saw, why you stopped the fight when you did.
Well, I saw Sosa. To me, he looked like he was hurt. He was getting hit with punches, and he wasn't coming back. To me, he wasn't going to continue.
Given his history of being able to take such a good punch, could you have called a standing 8 count at that point?
That's in our rules. I could have done that, yes.
Did it cross your mind?
No.
You just thought that Joe...
I thought he was going to get hurt.
Thank you very much, Ken. Jim?
Part of the referee's job, for certain, is to protect the safety of the fighters. I think most would say that's the primary job of the referee, and Gil Clancy, this man obviously believed in total sincerity that he was protecting Merqui Sosa from getting hurt.
Well, yes, he certainly, but he should know the rules. You have the standing 8 count. Why didn't he apply it? I mean, Larry Merchant just asked him that question, and he says, yes, he knew there was a standing 8 count. Did he have any thought of doing it? He said no. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's the question that remains in the wake of that, and only Ken Zimmer, somewhere in his heart and his mind, could answer it. But let's go back to the ring now as Larry stands by with second-round KO winner Roy Jones.
All right, Roy Jones, congratulations once again. Question has to be asked, given his reputation and history of being able to take a punch, Were you a little surprised that the fight was stopped when it was?
No, because he's challenged a little too slow, and I was going to hurt him if it wouldn't have been stopped when it was. So, you know how I am. I don't want to hurt nobody. So I turned the punches on because I know that it's just 3 knockdown rules in effect, or 3 standing 8 count. And if you don't punch back, even though you got a good reputation, a lot of guys have been getting hurt lately, and they don't want to get anybody hurt. But first of all, I take time out, thank God for giving me the strength, will, determination, and power to do everything I do. What's up, Pensacola? We still rule. I said, what's up to the troops over in Bosnia? Wish y'all the best of luck. Hope we don't have to go to war. And, you know.
That was a very rough fight for the 4 or 5 minutes it went on, Roy. We haven't seen you in that kind of a war before. What were your thoughts about staying in there so long?
Well, I told him before that, when I came here, I wasn't going to pull a Michael Nunn or run from Sosa because I'm much too fast for Sosa. Even though he's a strong guy, people want to see could I take a punch. Well, they saw that I could take a punch. He hit me with a good overhand right. Nothing happened. I'm not going anywhere.
So you're saying that one way you can find a challenge for yourself, and you've said so often that it's getting hard to find a challenge, is to show that you can fight that sort of fight.
Show that I am versatile. What's up to the West Palm Beach dogs? I'll be out and see y'all soon. Yeah, to show that I am the man, to show that I can do whatever it takes for me to win. That's why I'm pound the best fighter in the world. No offense, Pernell, Oscar, all y'all good.
Is it?
A bunch of good fighters.
All right. Since you have this, what we've been calling basketball, Jones, was this either an uncontested layup or a dunk?
Kind of like it's kind of like a fast break dunk. You know, I set him up, caught him with a good right hand, bing, there he went. Came back and ran on him. I was gonna catch him again eventually. You know, once I see I can hurt a guy, he can hang it up because I'm gonna catch you again. I'm just real smart, and like I said, it was a wonderful thing.
Give us your feelings. You came late to New York because of the weather. You're leaving early. What's your thoughts about being in frigid New York?
Well, I like New York. I'm so glad I got a chance to perform at Madison Square Garden. The thing about it was that I know if I stayed up here long, I would have started to get sick because I can't really take cold weather too well, and I already have bad sinus. My allergies are terrible, so I wanted to make my stay short as possible before the fight because I want to be able to come out and perform tonight. All
right, you usually make the opponent sick. Thank you very much, Roy Jones. We'll be seeing you again.
And excuse me, one more thing. If something wrong, people think it wasn't treated fairly. No, it ain't my fault. But if somebody want to rematch or something, just call my house.
All right, we'll get that unlisted number. Merqui, give us your thoughts about the fight being stopped. We're going to show it to you on the monitor. Tell us what you see there and why you think the fight should not have been stopped.
Quiere que le diga que no es tu pensamiento, qué fue lo que pasó por qué pararon la pelea y por qué no la debieron haber parado.
Bueno, Royo me dio un knockdown primero, fue bien, fue un knockdown, right?
When Roy hit me, that was a legitimate knockdown. He did hit me.
Pero todo el mundo sabe que esa es la manera de yo pelear.
But everybody knows that's the way I fight.
So when you get hit that hard, you start to feel I'm getting him where I want him, and you were surprised that at that point they would stop the fight.
Cuando él te dio de esa manera, entonces tú sabes que esa es la manera que de verdad vas a pelear.
Exacto, y esa es la manera yo peleaba abajo y atacando. So el referee no me dio en ningún momento oportunidad.
That's the way I fight. Hitting below and
why the referee said that because you weren't punching back while taking that's why he stopped the fight. Were you trying to get him tired? What was your thoughts at that point?
Estaba tratando de cansarlo.
Yo estaba tratando de coger mi estilo, tratando de coger mi balance, y en eso me tiró 6 puños y me pegó 2.
I was trying to keep up with my balance. I was doing my fight. He threw 6 punches and he only hit me with 2.
Do you think that the referee should have called a standing 8 count to give you a chance?
¿Tú crees que el referee debió haber contado 8 parado?
No, yo estaba bien, completamente bien.
I was okay, very well.
Is it your belief that if you got Roy Jones into a long, hard fight like that, that eventually he would give in as other opponents of yours have?
¿Tú crees que si tú traes a Jones a una pelea que dure mucho más tiempo, tú crees que le puedas ganar?
Por supuesto, no estaba haciendo mi pelea, él me está dando galletas, son galletas. Me cogió con un puño, con un solo de lo que te dio bueno.
I was doing my fight and he only caught me with 1 punch. That was it.
Thank you very much, Merqui. Thank you. Jim?
I want a rematch.
All right. Merqui says he wants a rematch. Larry will give him the unlisted number at the Jones home. Let's take a look at the stoppage one more time, Gil, and you give us your comments on it, keeping in mind that Roy was thoroughly in control of the fight.
Well, I wouldn't say he was really completely in control of the fight, because Merqui Sosa did land some solid punches. And, you know, one punch can turn the fight around. He gets nailed a couple of punches, but his hands are high. There he just blocked two. One went through, blocked another one. A couple went through, but they were just pity-pat punches, those last couple of punches, when the referee jumped in.
Referee Ken Zimmer electing not to go for the standing 8 count, but rather to stop the fight. Let's not let our questions about the stoppage overshadow Jones's performance. I personally think that was a hell of a performance. What do you think?
Well, this guy is the most amazing guy I've ever seen. He takes a tough guy like a Merqui Sosa. He told us ahead of time, I'm going to fight him on the inside. I'm going to make a war out of it. He said, I may even get knocked down. He said, but I'm going to prevail in the fight. And he did exactly as he told us he was going to do. It looks to me like this guy can do everything.
Didn't leave any question about his gifts or his motivation in there tonight.
No question about it.
All right. Thanks very much, Gil Clancy. Larry Merchant, you had a chance to chat with everybody in the ring. Your final thoughts, not only about the stoppage, but also about Roy's performance.
About the stoppage, I think what's interesting is that the referee, in a sense, took into account what Roy Jones does so great with his lightning reflexes and lightning punches, but he didn't take into account what the other guy has done so well, in that he has fought many fights like this, and that when you're in the big show, you got a chance, you deserve the benefit of a doubt to be able to fight the kind of fight that you can fight. Just one other thought I have, which is during this week, watching the snow fall. It's hard to get it out of your mind. It's obsessed everybody all over the East. And I've been thinking about Roy Jones' hyper reaction to it. And I've been also thinking about a fabulous movie I saw recently, Les Miserables, with Jean-Paul Belmondo, who was once a fighter. And there's an amazing, gorgeous scene in there in which two young French fighters during World War I are fighting, and snowflakes are falling all around them. A perfect metaphor for war and peace. And so if Roy Jones has any problem with the cold up here in the middle of the winter, I would suggest to him, it could have been worse. We could have been outside having this fight. Here in the middle of the winter, I would suggest to him, it could have been worse. We could have been outside having this fight.
You never cease to amaze us, Larry, with your ability to reel in far-flung analogies from all over the pop culture world. Les Miserables, indeed. So, we'll have a final word on everything that transpired in the ring here at Madison Square Garden tonight in just a moment. But first, let's look ahead to some upcoming programming on HBO.
HBO invites you on a special journey through barriers and limitations to triumph and glory.
The first time I've ever heard an announcer call a black man an American was in the Smelling and Jolers fight.
The journey of the African-American athlete, based on the black experience, rooted in the American dream. Premieres Monday, February 12th on HBO.
One woman
Hello, I'm Tracy Ullman.
playing 20 characters.
Taking on one topic a week.
On the first, Tracy takes on
Romance. Romance like donuts. Everybody hungry for donuts. Everybody hungry for romance. There's really only been one great romance in my life.
Bye-bye, darling.
Bye-bye, darling. That was with my horse.
I'm a chick magnet. That's why they call me Chick. Hi.
Tracy Takes on Romance. The season premieres Wednesday, January 24th.
Only on HBO.
So at the beginning of the evening in Madison Square Garden, heavyweight Tim Witherspoon, 38 years old and in search of resurgent opportunity, scored a unanimous decision over Al Ice Cold, the cruiserweight champion. Witherspoon won all but one round on all 3 cards. In fact, he won all the rounds on 2 cards and lost 1 round on the 3rd card. It was thoroughly a dominant performance. And then Roy Jones entered the ring after a long delay with a glove wrapping or a hand wrapping controversy and got a stoppage over Merqui Sosa in the second round. In the third minute of the second round, he knocked Sosa down for the first time in Sosa's career, and then Sosa failed to answer back when Jones fired a barrage of punches against the ropes. Coming up immediately following tonight's coverage of World Championship Boxing, stay tuned for Shock Video 3, Turn On TV on the East Coast, and Open Fire on the West Coast. And join us next month for 2 nights of boxing on HBO. On February 3, the premiere of our new series, HBO Boxing After Dark. A doubleheader featuring Johnny Tapia and Marco Antonio Barrera to be seen at 11 o'clock Eastern and Pacific time. Then, on Friday, February 9, World Championship Boxing returns as Oscar De La Hoya makes his junior welterweight debut against Darrell Tyson. And Julio Cesar Chavez returns to HBO against Scott Walker. De La Hoya Chavez doubleheader Friday, February 9. Turn to HBO for the show The Pros Watch. Inside the NFL, as hosts Lynn Dawson, Nick Bonaconti, and Chris Collinsworth are joined by Coach Jimmy Johnson to take a complete look back and the first look ahead at all the postseason action from now through the Super Bowl. It premieres Thursdays at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific time. So now for Larry Merchant, Gil Clancy, and Harold Letterman, I'm Jim Lampley saying so long from Madison Square Garden in New York. The executive producer of HBO Sports is Ross Greenberg. Tonight's telecast of World Championship Boxing was produced by Rick Bernstein and directed by Mark Payton. The feature producers were Greg Backer and Brian McDonald. The associate producer, Kirby Bradley. Assistants to the producer, Jonathan Crystal and Thomas Odelfelt. The production manager was John McCallie. Happy birthday, John. And the technical supervisors, Chip Adams and Bob Hunter.
This has been a presentation of HBO Sports, the network of champions.